Hey up and welcome back to Rate Scary. My name is Scary Zara Mary and today we are talking all things Bone Temple, and I have a very, very special guest, someone that's joined me for a few episodes before, my buddy Celebro, otherwise known as Sam. He is going to be coming and joining me to talk about Bone Temple. We have been itching to talk about this film because we were lucky enough to go to an early screening way back at the beginning of December in 2025. We've had to sit under an embargo since then, and finally we can actually talk about things. So I'm going to give you a fair warning. This is a full spoiler episode. We are going to be talking huge spoilers for Bone Temple. So if you have not seen this film and you don't want this to be spoiled in any way, please hit save on this. Keep this episode for later. Get to the cinema and go see Bone Temple because it is a fantastic film and you are missing out if you do not go and see this and then come back to this later. If you have seen Bone Temple, then we would absolutely love to know your thoughts. So make sure you join in the comments of this episode and tell us what you thought. But for now, let's introduce Sam.
It's all for you!
Beware the moonlights.
An excellent day for an exorcism.
I'm your number one fan.
Hello.
Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Rate Scary podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be back. 3 times lucky. It's my good time.
3 times lucky. I know. You must be good if I keep having you back.
Something's going right, isn't it?
Clearly. Now, first of all, most important question. You know what it is?
I do.
What have you had or what are you having for your tea?
I've had a bit of a lighter tea because I had a spag bowl for lunch.
Ooh,
So
heavy.
tonight, Matthew, we've had a sausage, egg, and cheese wrap. Just
Ooh,
nice
very
and simple.
nice.
Because we're training tonight.
Oh, are you hitting the gym after this?
You know it.
Working off that sausage?
You know it because it's not been a healthy tea, but it was a great one. What did you have?
Well, we're going to talk about all things sausage a little bit later. I haven't had anything yet, but I'm going to have a My Protein burrito bowl. Very exciting.
Love that. Sounds
Thanks
good.
very much. However, I am not hitting the gym. I'm hitting the Netflix.
Hitting the play button.
Correct. But no, thank you for coming back on. It's always nice having you on here to chat because
Thanks for
I
having
love you and we always
love
have a
you
good
too.
conversation about films.
We do.
And today we're going to be talking. Have you got it with you? Bone Temple.
Hell yeah.
Bone Temple, baby. Because at the time of recording, the film is yet to release. Once the film has released, I will publish this. But we were very lucky to be able to go and see an advance screening on the 9th of December in 2025, weren't we?
We were very lucky.
How did you find the event?
I thought the event was pretty surreal because it was my first sort of big event. So I was like a deer in the headlights almost. I thought it was a really good event. I mean, the screen is the biggest screening I've ever sat in. How big is that screen?
It's enormous. So it's the Cineworld, isn't it, in Leicester Square?
Yeah.
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 I mean, it was amazing.
It was, and there were so many people there, and I think there was just this like mutual sense of excitement, wasn't there? Because this was, for me, I feel this is a big deal. This is a long-running franchise, and yeah, it was really good.
It was. It felt really, really special, and I think it was really good that they had a mix of people there who were very clearly fans of the entire franchise, but specifically had really enjoyed 28 Years Later.
Yeah.
But then there was also a lot of people there who I knew, who I'm mutuals with, that weren't fans of 28 Years Later, and it was almost, right, this is time to change their mind a little bit.
Yes.
And I spoke to a few people coming out of the screening who hadn't enjoyed Years, and they were blown away by Bone Temple. So I was so pleased, and I'm so excited. I'm hoping that people who haven't seen 28 Years, who haven't seen Bone Temple and didn't enjoy Years, will go and see it because I think they will love it.
I do.
I mean, what was your initial reaction coming out of the screening?
Coming out of the screening, I was surprised more than anything because things didn't play out how I thought they were going to at all. And I think that Nia DaCosta gave us a complete tonal shift in parts that we didn't think she would, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was really surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised because one thing that I love is being completely wrong about something, how something's going to go, and enjoying it nonetheless.
Yeah. I was totally open-minded. I think we would be because we enjoyed 28 years. I don't
Yes.
think there's nothing to prove for us because we enjoyed that story. So we're
Yeah.
just along for the ride, just excited to see how the next chapter unfolds.
Yeah.
Whereas I think for those people that are maybe more skeptical, they're going to scrutinize that story a little bit more. But I think they'd struggle to scrutinize it because I just think it's brilliant, and it's such a tonal shift as well. That was the thing that hit me coming out of the screening, is it still feels like a 28 movie. I think Nia DaCosta's done a really good job of honoring how the previous 3 films have worked and looked and feel, but she's completely made it her own.
Yes.
And that was what I loved most, is it just hits you differently.
Yeah. 100%. And I think one thing that Nia DaCosta mastered in this film was the impact of certain scenes as well. You sort of felt it in there, didn't you? And fair enough, we were an unbelievable sized cinema with some serious speakers, but I think people are going to be surprised by this film because I don't think they're going to expect just how visceral it is and how impactful some of the moments are in this film.
Well, let's talk about some of those moments then.
Okay.
I think that's important. We can talk full spoilers.
Yeah.
So if people haven't left this episode alone by now and don't want it spoiled, then this is their own fault. They've had plenty of warning.
You've been warned.
What were some of those standout moments for you?
Look, I, for some reason, didn't realise from the ending of 28 years later that this gang were going to be as evil and brutal as they were. And I know that probably the writing's on the wall, considering who they're all in tribute to, which was an evil person. But I think it shocked me just how quickly this film opened up with instant brutality. Straight away, the empty swimming pool scene, and we sort of got an idea of what Jack O'Connell's role in this film was going to be, and it was much darker than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be lighthearted and happy, but I didn't realise we were going to go down these kind of depths.
I feel completely the same. I mean, that swimming pool scene at the beginning, like the abandoned leisure centre with the Jimmies, you know that something is going to go down. So Alfie, who plays Spike, has kind of joined the Jimmies, but he's got to prove himself to be able to be fully accepted. And the fact that he's basically got to pick a Jimmy to battle with, and whoever dies is out and whoever wins is in. Like, you know that he's going to get in, but I didn't expect it to be so brutal and so disgusting the way that it went down. I think it was the fact that it was so quiet. You've got no sound effects, you've got no music to back it up. You are just watching this person bleed out on screen. And you feel like it's a really almost private moment that you've entered and you shouldn't be watching, because we don't see those sort of things day to day. And that's the start of the film.
Yeah, it was quite realistic in the respect that it wasn't very cinematic. And when he's bleeding out, he's sort of bouncing around a little bit awkwardly like you would in real life, saying, "Is it that bad? Is it that bad?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, it really is that bad." And then all of a sudden it hits how much blood he's lost.
Yeah, it was disgusting. And then to go on, I mean, there's a number of brutal scenes that we get from the Jimmies. The other main one that sticks out is, I suppose it's not a visceral scene, but when they come across this family in this farmhouse and the Jimmies are all sat around the kitchen table, and there is so much tension in that room. You are waiting for someone to speak and to almost fire the gun on what's going to happen next. It's like politics playing out in that room. It's power play of who is in control. It's obviously Jimmy Crystal. But what that then leads into is the barn scene with charity work. So the Jimmies having to pick, or was it the Jimmies or was it the family that have to pick charity work? One of them, and we get t-shirt removal, which is basically degloving of the skin on the top half. And I love a gory film. Like I've got a great big Terrifier poster in the background. I've got Martyrs right behind. Like I love visceral, gory films, and even that was eye-watering.
Yeah, yeah.
And you
it
don't
was
see a
something.
lot of it on screen either.
I think that there's always, I think, especially when sort of then the gang come across innocence, and it's. I think it's a story that's been told before, isn't it? Where you're sort of in a room with some antagonists, they haven't quite kicked off yet, but you know that something's about to go down, and that tension, that slow build, sort of working your way towards it, because you know straight away after that intro scene that these guys are not good news, and that
Yeah.
Jimmy Crystal has a motive, he has a almost a complex of control, and I think that those scenes, and then obviously into the barn scene straight away, are where I was sort of became really surprised and was like, okay, this film's earned its 18 rating. Because at first I was like, okay, well, we're just zombies. It's not going to be something that we've seen before, but that's the whole point here, isn't it? I think the key point here is the infected aren't the problem this time, and they're not the main issue here.
And to be fair, I think I hope this film will make people realize that the 28 films have never been about zombies.
Right.
It's always been about how shit humans are. Right from 28 Days, when the gang come across the army barracks and you've got these soldiers that are up to no good. Like, it's always been about how shit humanity is in times of crisis and in general. But it takes something like Bone Temple to really shove it in your fucking face.
Yes.
To prove that point to people, because people do just see these as zombie films. And I think that was the main complaint with 28 Years Later was, well, where's the zombies? Like, I bought tickets to this because I wanted a zombie film. Well, then you were never a fan of the franchise, because that's never what they've been about.
No.
I think there is one scene that we both really want to talk about, which is the needle drop scene that we get in Bone Temple. Talk to me about that.
Incredible. I mean, listen, they were preaching to the converted there. I'm obviously a huge music fan, and I'm a huge sort of metal guy. And I think that, because for context, we sort of see a little bit about how Ralph's character has come along, Ian,
Rafe,
how his journey, how he survived, and what he does to keep himself, basically going. And I thought the scenes were really beautiful with music, and you sort of realise you're looking upon his memories, and they were really impactful, weren't they? And then when he decides that he's turning things up to 11 and dressing as the devil, it was one of the coolest scenes that I've seen in the cinema. Because I was warned, I was sort of like, I was preempted, sort of like, there's something in here that's going to really mean something to you, and it's going to be really special. And I mean, what happened after the scene finished? Can you remember?
The place erupted.
It was
absolutely
so cool.
Like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it now.
It was so cool.
So the scene that we're obviously talking about is, we have all these lovely scenes all the way throughout the film of Rafe Fiennes, his character, Dr. Kelson. He has a record player. And initially we get Duran Duran records, which, brilliant, such a perfect choice for his character.
Yeah.
Like, canonically for me, he's gay, and him and Samson have a lovely gay relationship.
Speaks about his wife.
I know, but he's lonely.
He's lonely, yeah, sure.
But they have so many lovely moments throughout the film. Like, I cried a number of times.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you get that moment where he's sort of looking down and he goes, right, let's turn this up to 11. Like, him performing to that song. What is the song? Because you know better than I do.
The Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden.
Number of the Beast, thank you.
So good.
It's perfect. And did they use the entire song? Was that from start to finish?
I think it pretty much was, yeah.
No cuts. So that's a pretty long scene, isn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was so well done, so well shot. And I don't think that, because obviously this points towards that.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't think it was going to be anything like that.
No, I mean, you almost can't tell that that's Rafe Fiennes on the poster.
I didn't know that was Rafe Fiennes when I first saw this, and I know that that's going to sound stupid to some, but I honestly just thought I don't think that's Ralph Fiennes. I think it's some sort of Mad Monk, the Bone Temple. You know, we were sort of led astray, I think, here. And obviously, the Bone Temple is what Kelson's built, fine. But I sort of thought that there was going to be something a little bit different. And the fact that that's Rafe is pretty incredible. And I think even if you did work out it was Rafe, or Ralph, sorry.
Rafe.
Is it Rafe?
Yeah.
I've been calling him Ralph this entire time, so it's a good job that me and him aren't boys because he won't be my friend anymore. Ralph Fiennes, just testing you guys. Come on. If you can work out that that's him, then you automatically think that he's infected from his sort of facial expression, and that isn't the case.
No.
It's so different. It's such a throw off.
And I have to say, like, so let's talk about Rafe. It's Rafe.
The R-Man.
Our dog. I am so in love with Ralph Fiennes anyway. He's one of my favourite actors.
Yes.
When you think about it, how talented an actor he is. I mean, he plays a fantastic role in Bone Temple and 28 Years Later anyway. But to have the guy dancing around to Iron Maiden as the devil,
yeah,
it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I would have paid money to have been on set watching him do that. Because did he enjoy it? Was he having a whale of a time?
Surely.
You would hope so. I would like to think so.
Brilliant. I think Rafe's got, and I said this to you in person, I think, from that first film, he brought a lot of the emotion for me. Because I think his delivery of the fact that he was so gentle with Spike's mother and her, her diagnosis, etc. Even though he was like, "Look, I've got no equipment, and I'm really sorry to tell you, but I think you have cancer, and I don't think you've got long left." His delivery of those lines, I was really emotional, and then just to see him reflecting on his sort of early life and before things were the way that they were, because there's this sense of care with this character that carries over to the Bone Temple massively. Because not only is this a dark story, there's also a huge sense of hope and belonging and the sense of, not redemption, I don't think redemption is the right word, but there's this sense of being hopeful for the future, which is exactly what Rafe's character Ian is. He's trying to fix things, isn't he? And he thinks he's found a way. And I just seen him do the full circle, have his crazy moment after this huge build-up of sort of emotion. I thought it was amazing and a very, very... probably, maybe it's going to be tough to beat this year in terms of storytelling cinematically, actually. Kelson's entire arc, it was incredible. And I know I've rambled there a little bit, but it's hard to articulate for me.
No, I agree. And I reflected on this over the weekend, actually. Because I'm going to see the double bill tomorrow night of Years and Bone Temple, which I'm very excited to see, like to be able to watch them back to back. I'm very excited about. With Bone Temple, the thing that I reflected on is in 28 Years Later, Dr. Kelson uses Latin to articulate memento amori, remember you must love, and memento mori, remember you must die. And I think we see that. We see it as a theme in 28 Years Later, but we see it more prominently as a theme in Bone Temple, especially when you think about the contrast that you have between Dr. Kelson and Jimmy Crystal. Jimmy Crystal is memento mori. He is out to kill. He is out to do the devil's work and to serve up demons to serve up souls to hell.
100%.
Kelson is there to love, to cure, to nurture. And I just think that's such a beautiful contrast between those two characters. And I really hope that they carry that through to whatever the next film is going to be.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point, actually. And that's a really nice way of looking at it.
Compassion, love, and Kelson. The flip side of that is obviously Jimmy Crystal, played by Jack O'Connell, one of my favourite men ever. Let's talk about him.
Right. Well, he's having the years of his career right now, isn't he? Because coming off the back of Sinners, which was incredible. Like, he was my favourite part of Sinners, and I loved a lot of parts of Sinners. And then coming onto this role as well. Is this a more significant performance? I can't give you an answer right now. I've got to watch both again because it's up there, isn't it? It's that good.
I mean, the guy plays a villain so well. I was a Skins girl in my
Okay.
teens.
When he was
So
cook,
I grew up
etc.
with Skins. I was the same age as the Skins cast. I think Jack O'Connell is a year younger than me. Don't know if he's single, Jack, but hit me up. I'm not, but it's fine. We'll sort something. And like, I grew up with his character in Skins, and he was such a nasty bastard in that. He was horrible, and I loved him. One of my favorite films of all time is Eden Lake.
Yes, I'm dying to watch
Again,
this.
such a sinister, evil twat. He is hands down one of the best things about that film.
Mm.
But then, like you say, I know he's done other films, but these are just the highlights for me. Remick in Sinners. Charming, delightful, but a vampire.
Yeah.
And wants to take everyone on and steal their music and create his own family. And then Jimmy Crystal, like, we only saw him really right at the very end of 28 Years, that little glimpse that everyone got of him. It's hard to say whether this is Jack O'Connell's film or Rafe's film. That I think it's shared between the two of them because you've got this duality.
It is a duality, yeah.
But he is so fantastic. He's almost in the conversation that he has with Rafe, you can see him as a little boy again. Like when him and Dr. Kelson are sat down, he is intently listening. You can tell he's quite naive, and Dr. Kelson is picking up on this. But he's still got that sinister element. And then, look, I don't know what it is, but Jack O'Connell upside down on a crucifix, I'd love that as a poster placed above my bed.
That would make for a good art print. There's no doubt about it. That would make for a good art print.
He's just phenomenal. Like, and he looks so disgusting in this film. I would not want to come across him in any sort of situation, down a dark alley or anything.
He's instantly bad news, isn't he, on the eyes?
Yeah, completely. Like, even when I mentioned the scene when they're all sat around the table in the farmhouse, and the woman says to him, "Are you going to leave?" And he says, "Yeah, after we've killed you all." Oh, like, just so nonchalant. He's the one that's in control in that situation. He's going to make sure everyone knows it.
Yeah.
What an icon.
He's evil. He's evil. And I think Jack O'Connell's just having the years of his career. Like, where does he go from here? Because it's not, I almost don't feel like he's hit his ceiling either. I feel like there's more roles on the way. But coming off the back of Remick from last year, and now we've got Jimmy Crystal here, like, he's solidified himself as a bit of a horror icon, hasn't he?
Pretty much. I mean, and I think that's probably something that I would like to see him do something different, because I know him as a villain.
Yes.
And I love him in those roles. I would like to see him take a romantic lead for personal reasons. Or even just more of a, like, a period drama or something. I'd love to see him in something like that. I think it'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
I just clicked on IMDb and just to have a look and see what he's got coming up. He's got 4 projects that are coming up, one of which is Bone Temple at the time of recording, which is completed. The next one is 2027, which is Godzilla Kong Supernova.
He's in that, isn't he?
He's listed as being in that. That's in post-production at the moment.
I'm a big Monsterverse fan, yeah. Okay.
He's then in a film called Pretty Boy Delaney, which is about a former boxer now homeless and battling a fentanyl addiction on Skid Row, struggles to confront his past and reconnect with his daughter.
That sounds like a Jack O'Connell role.
Well, so he's not playing the lead. But he is in that. So he's got a few things coming up, and then he's got something called Ink, which it does look like he's in the lead role for. That, again, is a Danny Boyle directed piece. So he's clearly Danny Boyle's boy now.
Yeah, definitely. Can't be a bad thing.
No, definitely not. But I just think he's fantastic. It's probably worth touching on, actually, given the ending. And what happens to, first of all, we've got Rafe. I keep calling him Rafe. It's Dr. Kelson, the character. He's stabbed by Jimmy. And we have a beautiful scene of him being held by Samson, who we're going to come on to in a second.
Yeah, we've got to talk about Samson, yeah.
And then Jimmy is crucified upside down by the rest of the gang of Jimmys. Do we think Jimmy is still alive?
No.
Do you really think that's the end? He's not coming back for the third film?
I think he's dead.
He's dead, done, dusted.
I do, yeah. I can definitely see the argument of why he wouldn't be, but I think he died on that cross.
Fair.
Along with Kelson.
I am going to hope that he comes back.
Oh, yeah, you want him back?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to hope that he comes back. But that's personal preference, and we'll come on to where we think that the films are going to go in a second. But I just thought I'd grab your thoughts on whether you think Jimmy's dead or not.
Sure.
The other person that we do need to talk about is Samson, played by Chai Lewis Parry, Mr. Dong, who I thought was brilliant. I'm really glad. I thought he was brilliant. I'm really glad that he had a much larger role in this film compared to 28 Years Later.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I was going to say, what did you think?
I didn't expect that Samson was going to have much of a role outside of 28 Years, outside of the first one of this helpful trilogy. I was shocked that Samson had such a role that I think also portrayed a different story as well. Not redemption, but potentially, building a bridge back to a form of normality, whatever normality is in that sort of world. But, certain flashbacks and certain scenes, I thought it was done really, really well, actually, when he was sort of on the train and he had a flashback to his original life, and then he spoke his first words, and you sort of like, because he repeated himself from his memory, and you're like, he's not there anymore. He's not in that place. And of course, it's because of Kelson's treatment, compassion, love, patience, etc. When Samson could have ripped his head off at any moment because he's a hulking Godzilla of an infected. And has still retained that, though, hasn't he? He's still got that power, which we see as well, which is another unbelievable scene. I thought Samson's arc was really interesting, and I think potentially I can see an argument for it being the focal point of the next film if we get it.
That is a very good shout. It is a very good shout. And I agree with you, with not expecting Samson to have played such a large part in this film. Even when watching the trailers initially, we see those clips of the little boy on the train and going past the railway station, and then suddenly all of the passengers on the train looking at this little boy. Did not connect for me that was young Samson.
No,
I didn't realize that was his backstory. And I think it's really exciting the fact that he's spoken in this, because like you said, that it proves the point that these are not zombies. These are infected humans. This is a virus, and they're very, very poorly, albeit demented. And yeah, you're right. He could have a much, much larger part going into part 3, because I suppose I can't imagine that they are going to do any films after part 3. This was already a risk for him to turn what could have been just one film into a franchise of 3. Then I can't believe that they're going to do any more after this. And I almost don't want them to.
I get that.
So I think the only conclusion that we can really have with a third film is, what about Samson, now that we know that a cure is possible?
Yes.
All of these years later. The only problem being is that the person who created that cure, who concepted that cure, has now passed. So what does that mean? Exactly.
That's a really interesting point. And I think, there's obviously other things that we need to tie up. How is Spike going to come into this? Is Spike going to come into contact with Samson? Because Spike's obviously a focal character. Are we going to... I 100% think we're going to get Aaron Taylor-Johnson's Jamie back in the fold. And, how are these stories going to link up? Because Holy Island, I think, is in for a really rough time. And my theory for the third film as well is that from 28 Years, the baby, I have a feeling, is going to be like 28 Weeks, where we had the wife of Robert Carlyle's character that was infected, but it didn't directly kill her, but any contact with her, well, it didn't directly sort of make her, transform her, but any contact with her transforms everyone else.
Mm.
And I feel like that baby could have that same sort of symptom because it wasn't infected, but it came from an infected person. So is it going to have the same symptom as what she did, if that makes sense?
So
And
being a
it affects
carrier.
Holy Island. Yeah, because it's been taken there, hasn't it?
Well, it'd be really interesting if in the third film we see, it's baby Isla, isn't it? Because she's named after
That's
her
right.
mum. It'd be really interesting if we saw her eyes open and she's got the different coloured eyes, because
Yes.
that was the indicator in Weeks that you were potentially a carrier of the virus, but you wouldn't become infected, is having those different coloured eyes. That would be really interesting detail. I think the other thing that we need to consider with a third film is what we got right at the end of Bone Temple, which again is the other moment that made our entire theatre clap, whoop, gasp. I was sobbing. Like Will was having to console me because I was going, Jim's back. Cillian
Jim's
Murphy.
back.
So everyone wanted him to come back. People wanted him to come back in years. It wasn't the right time for him to come back in years. When everyone thought he was that zombie in the field, this is right now. And I'm so happy that he's back. And clearly he's going to be helping Spike.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredible.
Because we get Spike running away with Jimmy Inc., who was played by Erin Kellerman. And I was really, really impressed with her. I'd not come across her before at all.
Me neither. Did a great job.
Like, she's stunning to look at, and I just think she's a real talent as well. So I think having this story of maybe Spike, Jimmy Inc., Jim, maybe returning Spike to Holy Island, where they're going to come across Aaron Taylor Johnson, that could be really interesting. But I just don't know where the peril is apart from Samson. That's the only thing that I can't. And that's what gives me hope that maybe Jimmy is still maybe.
That was going to be, yeah. But then again, I suppose, what's he going to do? What's he going to cause? I mean, he's caused a lot, but what could he do? It'd take him a while to recruit a new gang, I suppose, wouldn't it? It's interesting because it's the not knowing. It's the not knowing, I think, what makes it so exciting. That's why people need to go and watch this film, this Bone Temple. People need to go and support this film because not only is it fucking good, but it's going to lead to another film. And it actually matters this time. Like, this one isn't secured, is it, as far as we know? We need people to see the Bone Temple to get this third film.
I believe so. And I think the case is if this second one doesn't do well, then a third one just isn't feasible. So if people have been really hoping that Cillian Murphy is going to come back and we're going to see what is Jim's story, where did he go, what's he done, you need to see Bone Temple. You're not going to get that unless you go and see Bone Temple. So regardless of what you thought of 28 Years Later, whether you loved it, hated it, first of all, Bone Temple will change your mind. It will completely pull you back into this franchise. It will give you that brutality that you're after if the lovey-dovey warmth of 28 Years Later wasn't your thing. But second of all, if you want the ending to this story that you're after, you've got to see Bone Temple.
You have. Yeah. For me, it's a must-watch of 2026. I think I think it's going to be a real tough one to beat in terms of storytelling. I think the way that I think, especially since you've articulated it as well, I really like the Amore and the Memento Amore. I think that Kelson's storyline. Kelson's one of the. I think that storyline with Kelson is one of the most impactful emotional stories that I've seen in the cinema for a long, long time. I think it's about survival. I think it's about hope. I think it's about compassion and caring, and a sense of caring. Which I think the world lacks a little bit these days, doesn't it? And especially in that world as well. But I think it's a really exciting time for cinema with the 228 films, and the fact that people haven't had to wait so long as well for them to come out. They haven't had to wait long. I mean, we what I think is crazy is that we saw two films from the same series in the same year. When does that happen?
I know, like it completely blows my mind. I just find it completely bonkers. It is hands down one of the best cinema experiences I've had.
I agree.
Both in terms of, like, I was really lucky and I got to go to the world premiere of Years in London.
Yeah.
which I'd never done a red carpet before. I only got in there by chance, not through talent or anything like that. And that was a completely mind-blowing experience. That is one that I will carry with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
To then get to go and see this and have such an incredible experience. And Nia DaCosta was there as well, and we got
She
a little
was.
Q&A.
Yeah.
Like, what a talent she is, how fascinating she is. And like you say, that was 6 months apart for us to be able to see those two films.
Might never happen again, that.
I mean, the only film franchise you'd get that with is the Strangers films, and we both went to see Strangers Chapter 2. The
Lord.
less said about that, the better.
And I'm going to number 3. You best believe I'm too invested. I'm going to number 3. That's all that needs to be said. I'll be there.
Oh, God. Is there anything else that you want to add about Bone Temple, like to try and convince people to go, or anything that you truly loved about this film?
It's, you know what, I think with the Bone Temple, like you said, there's a great duality here between good and evil. As it doesn't matter how cliche it is, I think this film is going to impact a lot of people. I think a lot of people that liked 28 Years Later are going to love the Bone Temple. I think there's going to be some divisiveness as well. I think if you really hated 28 Years Later, you might hate the Bone Temple, because it's very much, in my opinion, more of the same. It's different from 28 Days and 28 Weeks, but for me, it's different in all the right ways. And I think that 28 Years and the Bone Temple, I might like them more than the originals. I'm not going to lie. I'm one of those people, because they are for me a little bit more emotional and more impactful. And I like things like that in these kind of films. And Kelson, I think, could be one of my favourite characters in cinema for a long, long time.
So on that then, we've had 4 films. We don't know what the 5th one looks like yet. How would you rank those 4 films?
My ranking is going to make people internally scream, I think. I'm going to go my least, number 4, and this is not because it's a bad film, because I like all the films in this franchise, actually. And I think it's really important for us to say as well, isn't it, before I do rank, that just because we've been invited and because we've done this and that, it doesn't impact the honesty. Because I got invited to a premiere and I tore it to pieces, didn't I? And if I didn't like the Bone Temple, I would have said. Because I think that honesty and authenticity is so important, and that's something that we spoke about. But coming in at number 4, I've got 28 Weeks Later. I think it's a good film. I think it starts off unbelievably well with Carlisle. And then in number 3, I've got 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
And then I've got the Bone Temple at number 2. And then my favourite one of the series is 28 Years Later.
A really fair ranking. Mine
and I
is,
think, it's weird. I think people are going to fall out with me about this, but that's the way it is. That's the way it falls for me.
Right. Well, if they're going to fall out with you, they can fall out with me. Here's my ranking.
Okay.
Number 4, 28 Weeks Later.
Right.
Number 3, slightly different, 28 Years Later.
Oh, okay.
Number 2, Bone Temple. Number 1, 28 Days. 28
Days, yeah. I get it. I get it. And I think for me, I said to you, didn't I? I was really interested in 28 Years. So I'm a new fan of this franchise. I do not have the old nostalgia of the old films. I always saw scenes from them and thought, I'll catch up with them one day. So I haven't sat with loving 28 Days Later like so many of you. And I think that that's what's been the key difference, because for its time, it's such a good film and it's such an impactful film considering how it was made, etc. But I don't have those same years of nostalgia that everybody else has. And I know that sometimes you can't use that to critique a film, or you can't use it to just blindly love a film.
No.
But I think for me, I just really liked these modern films. I really liked the newer takes. I really loved the. I honestly think that Rafe is probably the turning point for me with the 2 films. Just his character and his arc, and the way that we've articulated it today has probably made my decision. I think before this conversation, it might have looked slightly differently in the middle, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
I think that's totally fair. And probably a good note to end it on.
Yeah.
Do you want to remind people as to where they can find you online if they want to come and harass you for your ranking of the 28 films?
Yeah, if you want to come at me, which is more than welcome, You'll find me at Celebro on Instagram. You'll find me at Celebro on TikTok as well.
Lovely, and I'll make sure I pop it all on the screen, so make sure you go and follow Celebro if you
Thank
are
you.
watching on YouTube.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
If you want to come and harass me for my ranking, I am at Scary Zara Mary on TikTok and Instagram, and at Rate Scary on YouTube. So do feel free to come and give us a follow. If you are watching on YouTube, I'd appreciate you clicking like and subscribe, because I'm still a newbie at this and it really helps me out. So thank you. Until then, I'll see you with this end, and I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
It's all for you.
Beware the moonlights.
An excellent day for an exorcism.
I'm your number one fan.